I've been a good girl all my life. I made all the decisions. Don't do this, I did not do. Don't do that, I did not do. And suddenly, this one that broke all the rules, all the way to zina, is now better than me.
It's almost as though the worth of who we are as women is tied to the value of the service that we're providing in some form.
So you are either somebody's daughter, and then you become somebody's wife, and then you become somebody's mother.
Oh, hey, Farida. Oh, hey, Aisha. They look at you like,
I'm 40 and I don't have a child. Doesn't mean some of the things I'm living with are choices. They're not choices. It's acceptance of the life that I have been fitted.
Live it, love it, do it, clock it.
Hi, assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to the HSM TribeCast, the podcast by Muslim women for Muslim women. My name is Khadija. Muslim women often described through the function that they perform, and I think it applies to most women, whether they're mothers, wives, daughters, or whatever role it is that they are performing. But who are they beyond the labels? Who are we when we are not performing a service to someone else? I'm going to be exploring what it means to reclaim yourself and find the version of you that satisfies your destiny, we could say, on earth, as well as the role that Allah prepared for you to fulfill without service, to someone else. And I'm going to be having a lovely conversation today with a guest who is a community leader, who is a wonderful speaker and a transformational business coach. Welcome, Coach Mutiat Olagoke, founder of equated Media, the Muslima Speaks Tribe, basically all-round business, media, Muslim, mogul, it girl, everything.
Oh.
Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you for having me. I'm very honored to be here. Fantastic setup. MashaAllah, tabarak.
Alhamdulillah. So this season of the podcast is themed My Era of Yes.
Okay.
What is something that scares you, or something new, or something interesting that you said yes to this week or month?
I think my big age, this year I'm going to be 40.
Wow.
And so yes,
Mashallah.
I say yes to 40.
Mashallah.
In the last couple of years, I've been afraid of that number because, of course, there are a number of milestones that I haven't crossed that you should have crossed. And so for me, last year, I was like, oh my God, this is my last year. This is the last year of my 30s, right?
Pressuring yourself.
So there were a lot of exhaling. If there's anything I'm saying yes to in this season, is yes to 40, and not probably, hopefully, not
Life,
looking
I heard,
it.
begins as 40.
Well,
So I don't know when it became you have to have things figured out by then. 'Cause
I think
some
that,
people.
yeah, for me, I've lived life. So I feel like I've lived life. a lot of people will say, I feel most of the people I know, at 40, people women especially have a midlife crisis of all the things they've not achieved. For me, I probably have in terms of productivity and things that people want to do at 40, I'll probably say I'm an overachiever. To some extent. Mashallah, alhamdulillah. So the thing that I've not achieved are things that, for instance, I don't have a child. And so this is 40 and you're childless. And I was still saying, like, how am I childless at 40? So yes to life. Yes to the truth of the fact that I'm 40 and I don't have a child. Perhaps this will be the year that I will have the child. But maybe not. But yes to life.
In whatever season and form it comes.
In this truth that I would never have imagined at 20, that this will be my truth. Yeah. Never had imagined at 30 that it will be my truth. Even at 35. At 37, I was telling myself that this is the year my mom had her last child. That when I have my child at 37, I'm going to write a post about I'm having my first child at the year my mom. Well, at this rate, may God let me have my child at the year my
Amen.
grandmother had her last child, you know.
Amen.
So, but yeah, that's what I'm saying yes to. Yes to, this is my life. This is it. This is the decree that I have been handed. And regardless of how people will go like, oh my God, you're getting close to menopause. Don't worry. My mom did her own at 62. I still have 20 years to go. You know, it is, etc. So, yes to contentment, yes to peace, yes to acceptance, yes to joy,
Yes.
even though life is not complete. Yes to life as Allah has fated it for me. And so, yeah.
Alhamdulillah. And just going from that point, and it's what you said about as Allah has willed it for you, and also the expectations that we have around us, around
Yeah.
our lives, both as women, but especially as Muslim women.
Muslim women.
There's a topic I really want to touch on, and it's this idea of expectation. I said something earlier. I said it's almost as though the worth of who we are as women is tied to the value of the service that we're providing in some form. So at a point, goodness and worth became tied to value and service for an entity outside of ourselves. When, like, what are your experiences with that sort of narrative? And really, at what point did we get to that the idea of a good, respectable woman is tied to the value she's providing for someone else?
I think culturally, or perhaps the human experience, because it's not just about, African culture. When you look through time, women are often judged by who they are attached by a man or something. Mostly. So you are either somebody's daughter, that's when you have value, and then you become somebody's wife, and then you become somebody's mother. There's hardly any time except before Islam came, that women had an identity that they could take pride in, just being themselves.
Yeah.
You have to be attached to someone, especially
An appendage.
you have to be an appendage to something. You have to have an affiliation to something and somebody. There was no, well, maybe in the beginning of time it made sense because the world was wild and people needed to come together to form something. And then, of course, as a woman, we needed the protection of something. So for me, it was the realization of what this meant was me at 28 entering rooms like this, and they say, everybody introduce yourself. And then, hi, my name is Mutiat. I'm Umbu Ablibebe. I am a mother of 5. And somebody said, okay, what about you? My name is Mutiat. I'm just Mutiat.
And there's almost like
then there's everybody's waiting for the and.
Yeah.
Mutiat. There's no and. And it's always like, all the people who had ants, all of a sudden are better than me. And then, I think it was 10 years ago, on the brink of 30, it was as if everybody that had an ant is better than Mutiat. And that was when I started to embrace the full hijab, and everywhere I went, everybody was Umu Kiniko. And at that point, I didn't even know that I can pick any Umu as a kunya and be pretending as if me too am Umu that. I would just be looking at them like, two people have life. Can you not just say you're Mutiat?
And it's almost like you've broken a taboo, or you're disrespecting somebody when you're just like, oh, hey, Farida. Oh, hey, Aisha. Like, they look at you like, There's the Mrs.
like
the
that.
mommy.
And then
I
everybody's
have
like, don't
never
call
liked
me
that.
Khadija, I'm Umu Mutiat. And I feel like even now, so there's a narrative somewhere in some circles that Muti is feminist. And if you ask them why, at the bottom of it is that Muti has a business and a career that she's been pursuing that everybody knows. She's helping other women to make money, and she's not married. And she doesn't have children. So she has to be a feminist. She's all those people that don't believe in men.
And what's wrong with being a feminist in the ideal sense that it was meant to be perceived?
I don't even understand.
Yeah, exactly, because what is feminism?
I don't even understand. I can't.
Let's
You
not
can't
delve
even ask
into that.
me the question because I don't even understand what feminism
But
is.
it's people have created an aura around you and what you represent, and they just
Exactly.
go, oh,
Like I'm
this is
supposed
what
to be
she has
representing something that I don't even understand. And I'm thinking, and personally, I'm that kind of person that if they call me Soji Elijah, I'm offended. If you call me anything, I'm offended. Like, why are you calling me Soji Elijah? What you're saying is that Elijah Okin Soji,
Yeah,
or
and I fit a
I
description
fit a
that you are
description.
comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or there's something I'm better than other.
Yeah.
I don't want to be better than other Elijah. I'm part of them. So for you to say that I'm feminist, and they say it in a way that it is anti-Islam, and I'm like,
That's the
I'm
problem.
not anti-Islam.
Yeah.
Don't ascribe that to me. The people who are choosing to be that, that's them. But just because I'm living my life and I'm at peace with it, and I don't come to anybody's DM to say, help me, doesn't mean that some of the things I'm living with are choices.
Yeah.
They're not choices. It's acceptance of the life that I have been fated.
Yeah.
And I am making peace with it. And not only making peace with it, I'm choosing to be a vessel of care. I choose to be a vessel of goodness.
Yeah.
And say that, you know what, I may not be good at this. I don't have marital advice to give anybody. But should we
But this
business, content, brand?
You meet me there.
No. And so if you now say the people who have 5 children are all of a sudden better than Mutiat, and this was me realizing that I know someone who, the year we were graduating university, had an abortion. And that was not even the first abortion. And suddenly, because she's Mrs. something, and she has children, she's better than Mutiat. And this is something that I can talk about now with a dry face. I cried. And I'm like, wait, I've been a good girl all my life. I made all the decisions. Don't do this, I did not do. Don't do that, I did not do. And suddenly, this one that broke all the rules, all the way to Zina, is now better than me.
It's Qadar.
No, so yes. So when we say that, at what point? And that's what the society does. They just pick and choose, pick and choose.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing that you were good there at that time. But you've gotten to this time. You have not reached this milestone. There's something wrong with you. So at that point, I was sitting on my bed and I was asking myself that, oh, wait, is this what life is? And I decided by myself that what matters to me was, okay, what Allah thinks of me. So I spent the 3-4 months, started to ask, what does Allah think of me? What matters to Allah? And came to the realization one day that what matters to Allah is what I do with the life that He has handed to me.
Yeah.
And so that day, I started to live without caring what anybody says. If you people say that you are almost 7 children.
Because at the end of the day, you will return by yourself alone.
Exactly.
Not even with the children.
The children that will run away
yourself
from you. That you're going to be like, hey, you move away. Yeah. And I'm like, the children will run away from you.
I carried you for 9 months.
Kilonjebe.
Yeah. And it brings me to a really, really interesting point in this conversation. It's a point you made earlier about seasons. Life is in seasons. You know, you spoke about entering this new season and just taking it with the joy and the faith and what it is exactly. What we say is, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Right? I heard a quote somewhere once that the 3 seasons that life comes in is a time when you need to learn, a time when you need to earn, and a time when you need to return. So it's in terms of what are the things that you pick up, whether it's knowledge, whether it's education, whether it's values, these are the things that form the human being, the character that you will eventually be, right? And then how do you turn that into your ambition or, whatever you're able to make of that in your earning phase? Not even necessarily money, to be honest. And then finally, how are you able to take that back and give that back? Because it's not just, moving through this life alone. It's what do you return? What has that progression been like for you in your learning phase, the beginning phase, some of which we already touched on? I feel like you're currently in that return. You're already at the last stage.
Am I now old and ready to die?
It's not even even about the age. It's not even about the age of it. It's at that phase where you're like, you're building community, you're giving something back, you're trying to, translate it into something that outlives.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where we get it wrong with this service. The only time it matters is because you're offering a service. So I think people might confuse return sometimes with
Money.
service. Exactly. So from your perspective, how do people like navigate those phases of life and the seasons that come with it, but being, accepting of the fact that it will not always be this way. I would need to pass through because that's how life is. It moves in seasons. How do you navigate that? And, how can someone actually navigate those moments while staying true to themselves?
I think for me, it was always going back to self-awareness, right? And then at the heart of self-awareness is finding out that it goes back to Allah. So how have I been able to navigate it? It has always been going back to Allah and just sitting still. Sit still and try to read what is going on. Because if we're not careful, so the way you split it into three, sometimes in different aspects of our lives, we are in different phases.
Yeah.
So maybe you are newly married and you are in the learning stage of that. But then again, I've been doing business for 17 years and I'm not learning yes, there are things I'm learning every day, but they're just things that I'm at that pace where I can pass it on. So it's still me living two shades of my life. So for me, the first step is usually going back to awareness. And awareness is achieved through reflection.
Yeah.
And so most people will tell you that how do you bring it back to Allah? Or when people think of self-awareness and they say, oh, if you are not careful, you're going to end up like all those people that are very just self-centric. So for me, as a Muslim, it's always like, I go back through Allah. Because at the heart of all of this, it is Allah who is
Constant.
who is constant,
Yeah.
who is fitting it for us. So I'm able to sit still. I think from 20 years old, from 28 to my mid 30, I will wake up every single day, consistently, every single day. Even when I'm on my period, I'll still wake up for tahajjud. And sit, pray the 2 rakat and witri, and then sit still. And like I was saying, everybody will say, maybe you are like this, maybe something is wrong with you, maybe this. And I was beginning to believe them.
Yeah.
So I had to sit in still after tahajjud. So I wake up at 4:30, do the prayer, and just sit there, just me. Helped me to understand that I was in a phase. Helped me to understand that there was nothing wrong with me. This is destiny. Help me to pierce back everything. And then I will remember something. I'll be like, Abi is that boy that I abused that it was too short, that did this. And then I would go back to my 100 level. And then I would say, Abi is because by the time I ask all of this, Abi, and I sat down one day and arrived at the conclusion that there was all the Abis were leading to somewhere that this is what Allah has ordained.
Yeah.
And so the question is, what do you want me to learn? What is this for? Why are you doing this to me? What did I do to you? Did I steal a child from you? Did I collect something? Did I kill one of your angels? Why am I going through this? And it gets back to it. And that sitting still, not having to go to sit on anybody's couch or anything. Of course, I got help from other people who listened. Somebody told me after one of my big breakfasts that Mutiat Allah doesn't make mistakes.
Exactly.
And that's probably one of the most profound, as simple as that is, most profound thing people told that held my spirituality together. Because that night, when they say you don't make mistake, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so, when they say if you ask questions, you will get answers.
You get answers.
Of course, Allah is not going to come down and answer us, but it inspires the thought. Yeah. So how am I able to navigate it? It's sitting still with myself. I feel like a lot of us have been raised with not being comfortable, sitting with our emotions, sitting with what we're feeling, what we're going through. We're not comfortable with it.
With silence, even in conversations, do you realize that there's often the urge to just pitch in, to say something?
To say your beat.
You're not at peace when you're just quiet. Can you not be in comfortable silence?
No, it's hard, right? So sitting still helped me. And then, one thing that, I don't know if this is cliche, but for everything I'm going through, I would go back to, you know how the Quran, when you open it, somehow on that page you will find something. And so I started to go back to the stories of the prophets. So if I'm somewhere, I will be like, wait, which of the prophets is having delay? Did any of the prophets get their money lost? Or people are owing me money or something? And then I'll find a story that aligns to it.
Yeah.
And so I'm asking this person, what journey was he at that he had this problem? And so that helped me to see that I was in a circle. And that I think the biggest question that came out of it on how I transitioned from the learning to how did I get to having to pass it forward was when I realized that the trials I have been through, they can't be for nothing.
Yeah.
They're not new. Just as Allah said in the Quran that the stories is telling us these stories so that we can think, so that we can also see that whatever we're going through, we are not the first. We have done worse for the people before you. The people before you have seen it. So let me give you an example of that. For instance, Yunus. May Allah be pleased with him. Allah knew that Yunus was a faithless human being. Allah knew that he didn't have skills. He knew who he was, just like Allah knew that Musa was impatient.
Yet he sent him.
Yet he sent him. You know why? So I heard this story, and it wasn't even an imam that said it, was, how some Christians were translating it. And they said that Yunus has always been like that. Yet Allah sent him. And the reason Allah sent him was that those people that he was sent to, they believed in the sea. And that's why they threw him inside. When the sea was doing something, and they were like, you are the bad luck, and threw him into the sea. To calm the sea. So they believed in the sea. And so they knew they had thrown this man in. Yunus was telling them to believe in God. They did not think there was anything more powerful than the sea. Until the fish regurgitated a man out of that sea that they thought was more powerful. If Allah had sent the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he would never have entered that water. Because he wouldn't give up. Just like he did not give up on the people of Taif, he would not have left. But who would have left? Yunus. Because he was that person. That was his temperament. He didn't have chills. We're telling you people to do something you don't want to. Then don't do. I'm going. So Allah chose him because everything, the point Allah needed to prove, what will make those people to be convinced is that somebody will be
the messenger himself.
The messenger will come out of a fish from a river that they thought was almighty.
Yeah.
And so I sat down with it and thought.
And it was also a lesson for Yunus himself.
It was, of course, there was a lesson for Yunus himself. And so that I'm being chosen for this, like they said, Allah doesn't make mistakes. He chose me for this. He had to choose somebody who has audacity for this. Somebody who was trained by parents who have raised me to not care for other people's opinion. Like I've never cared for external validation. If I say I want to do something, I want to do. Oh, Igwe girls are this, Igwe girls are that. I don't know what you people are talking about. Igwe girls are just making money. If that is against the law of Islam, show me the evidence.
Show me. Bring your receipts.
But there are people who have started communities like I have, that the moment the noise started,
they gave up.
They gave up. But this is my journey because it's not their father that will help me pay rent on Allen Avenue. So I'm not going to wait for them.
I think that it has to do with something that I read about the loneliness of growth. It's how when you're making those strides, when you're making those moves, oftentimes you have to go at it alone. It's great if you have a support system, but most times the validation, as we call it, comes when you have finally arrived at the destination that you're going to. But most times when you're making those changes, when you decide, okay, I really want to do this for me without anyone else, it's an uphill battle. And I think that there's also some guilt that comes with it.
Oh, yes. A lot of it.
Yeah, whether it is in terms of taking a step back from the roles or the functions that you perform, or being selfish, in quotes, about the things that serve you and not others, there's a guilt that comes with it. How do you sort of manage that period of transition where you finally decide, yes, I need to put myself first, but you've not exactly gotten to where you need to be. So between those phases, how do you manage that transition?
So I think that for me, I'm a very self-aware person. And I know that if I don't move forward, I'm not going to have peace.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, the question is, do I let this go? To what end? Who wins? So if I let this go and it chips a part of my tawako or a sense of being, and that sense of self that I'm so keen about, if letting this go makes me lose it, who wins? And so that's always what I used to. And people will be like, no, it's not supposed to be always about you. So yes, I will calculate the collateral. So for instance, when the noise about the eager girls and what we're doing was very, very loud, say mid-year last year, one of the things I kept asking myself, what are we even doing? And so I started to look through, what do we do? What are they saying I'm doing? These women are leveraging social media to sell their business. And for the first time in their lives, people that barely make 50K a month are now making 6 figures in profit, not even in revenue. I mean, people have gone from one bed in their husband's room to renting a whole duplex in less than 5 years. My girls have gone from the day I said we're going to start paying zakat in a few years in 2022 to now paying zakat. Like, we now have zakat paying people, including myself. So I'm like, okay, so that's a pro. So what are the cons? What are they saying? That when women have money, they won't listen to their husbands? Are these women going home? And I'm like, you people, what are you doing at home to your husbands? And so I started to look, are these people, am I taking the cubbies out of places where they shouldn't be? So by the time I look at it, yeah, maybe a few people here and there, I started doing mumu things, but it has nothing to do with me. They would have done that mumu with or without me.
With or without.
So there was a need for me to check what I am doing and what needed to be better. Or are we, so I saw some of the things that we're doing. Are we so focused on productivity and money that we are also forgetting about Jannah? What do we do about that? And initially, I didn't think I needed to talk about that because everybody in the group has a madrasa. They have their personal life. And this is a business group. You can't talk about anything except business. So I started to see that, okay, some people are getting burnt out. Some people are I started to see some of those things. And so sometimes that loneliness, that criticism helps you to take a break.
And look inwards.
And look inward and assess. So I did the assessment and came to the conclusion that, okay, this definitely needs to be improved. And I also saw that I can be a very straight line kind of person. I'm very, if we are supposed to do this, we're supposed to do it. So I'm like, okay, I need to relax. I need to build better interpersonal skills with these people. I'm not just their coach. Some of them are looking at me like their friends. So perhaps I'm lonely because I'm not even taking advantage of the friendship that have been offered to me from the community. So I started to look at it. And one of the things I did was to create a new friend circle. Why am I lonely at the top? Find other lonely people and join us together. And yes, it is definitely lonely on the top because even with the friend circles, for all of their support, there are still things that people just can't get because the shoe is not them that the shoe is pinching, but still it was better than doing it by myself. So immediately I lost the group of people that stopped supporting me, not because they don't want to, but I had outgrown the Mutiat they used to support. I was not that Mutiat anymore.
That's a very, very key point.
Exactly.
When you stop being the person that people are used to, the person who's always available, the person who says, and it's ironical because we're saying say yes to things, and as opposed to no. But what I'm hearing is the moment you raise some boundaries, the moment you leave some things, but you don't just leave it. You're saying, if you decide to say no to something, it's because you're saying yes to something
another
else.
thing, yeah.
Exactly. So it's not a stagnation. And most times people just cannot deal. I think it's a few people that are able to adapt to this new version of you, this journey that you're on.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I started to understand the people who had to let me go when I had to let people go. And I got it. I realized that somebody who was my mentee, that I'm taking care of, that I always look out for, and she always come to me, all of a sudden is now her own person. All of a sudden she's making moves without asking me. And then I started having ugly feelings. I'm like, what's going on?
Whereas That's the beauty of it.
And then I got it.
Yeah.
And that my mentor, who betrayed me, and I wish if I could turn the hand of time, she made a better decision, it was easy for me to forgive her. Not because I validated what she did, but perhaps the reason that I'm not going to betray any of my mentees is because I've experienced this. And I know how it feels. She probably never experienced it, so she's never built the antibodies for it. But because I've experienced it, I have some of the antibodies. Immediately I could see myself. I'm seeing this post online, I'm like, they never call us. And my chest is doing something, and I'm like, when did I become this person?
It's pride, it's the nerves.
Yeah, and it's nerves saying, you wanna, you. And so immediately I saw that. And this conversation is like, 2 minutes? But this is weeks of sitting with ugly feelings. And understanding that, wow, this is what it meant to let people go. This is what it meant to see people grow all out of you.
Yeah.
People outgrow you. So I outgrew those people, and they didn't deal with it well. How do I do better now that I have gotten to that stage too? The people who have outgrown me, what do I do about it? And quite frankly, I don't think I've handled all of it 100% well, to be honest. But at least I'm aware of it, and I know that, okay, after this Ramadan, I will stop being petty. There will never be a petty Mutiat again. I know it's a lie, but at least.
Starts from now.
My assistant told me now that we have started this week. I said, yes, not petty again. So I get it now. It is easy to forgive them.
Yeah.
It is easy. And then I told myself that life is, the world is in circles.
Yeah.
And I think that interestingly, perhaps all of us will meet again when the circles come around. And maybe 10 years from now, who knows? And all of this, it won't matter.
It won't matter because you look back and
I'll be like.
And it's also a thing of intention. When you were saying that thing, when that thing starts rising in you, when you're watching someone else's growth and someone outgrowing you and becoming their own person, it goes both ways. The pride could come in the person who's forging their own path and becoming their person, but it could also come from the person who's being left behind, or the person who they are growing out from, or the situation. And I think that it's very important not to lose sight of intention, because that's when pride sets in. And we know the hadith, anyone with even an atom's worth of pride will not smell the fragrance of Jannah. And that is where it comes from. Ensuring that this new path that you're on, this reclaiming, is from a genuine sense of self and reclaiming yourself, and not necessarily from a point of pride. I think that's the point that's almost rounding up this conversation, is around how do you ensure that while you're on this path to keeping yourself, if you've mashallah found who you are, or rediscovering, how do you ensure that it's not from a point of pride and your intentions are pure all the way?
So the hadith you quote is what I always remember, right? And then because I teach self-concept, and some of the things I hear is, confidence is close to arrogance, this and that. And some of the first thing I needed to fight was to tell people that there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance. There's confidence, and then there's arrogance. If you meet an arrogant person, it's a deficiency of confidence. Yeah, because you know what confidence is. Confidence is, my name is Mutiat, and I am a fantastic speaker. Yes, I know my village people will say, that geek, how can she be complimenting herself? She's prideful, right? But that's not what it is. I'm telling you as it is the truth. It was the same way I felt when I heard the hadith that the Rasul said that if you don't say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when you hear my name, you are the most selfish person. And I was like, this Buddha must be full, he must really be full of himself. Astaghfirullah. But as I started to teach self-concept, I realized it wasn't full of himself, it was the truth. That was his truth. And he's telling us that even Allah and his angels send salutation to me. So who are you that you hear my name and you will not salute it? That's his truth. And so from that I realized that living in my truth as this is me and this is what I can do well. That's confidence. Arrogance, on the other hand, is I am better than you.
Better.
Why do I need to be better than you? So that I can steal away your audience?
Why can't it just be?
Why can't I just be good? And then you'll be good. And so when you called me and said, somebody said you should call me, and I'm like, oh. Some people will say no. You know why? Because they also have a tribe too. So my tribe is called Muslima Speaks Tribe. Your own is called, I'm not like, we are not competing. When I got here and I look at the demography of your tribe, it didn't even completely fit into the demography of my tribe. There are more than 20 million people in this city. I cannot serve them. You cannot serve them. Even the president cannot serve all of us. So understanding that, and it's not even enough to understand it, to continue to remind myself, because sometimes you will forget.
Yeah.
Before you called me, I actually saw your video 24 hours before, and I was curious. I was like, what's a lady? Girl, these only fine girls that these people like to call. And I was just looking at them like, Allah Mubariko. And so when you called me, I was like, Allah Akbar. Oh Allah. Was I jealous of them? I was not. So understanding that you will always have, the whispering will be there, your nerves will be there. Oftentimes when you're arrogant, it is a reaction to a deficiency of confidence on the inside. I'm going to say I'm better than you because inside, I'm already seeing something you are better at. And I need to shut that voice out. Now, most people, instead of me to sit down with myself and say, Hauzu Bilai, that girl is fine, you could me by. But at least I want no bad. Most people can't do that. They need to make you feel bad for them to feel good. And that's what arrogance is. So oftentimes, how I'm able to cope with it is to understand that the responsibility of self-regulation is on me. You don't have to make yourself small for me to feel good. Yeah. My job is self-regulation. My whole life, what we are going to be tested on is self-regulation. Allah will question us not on the fate He gave us. So, for instance, if I'm going to birth any child now, I will do it in my 40s, right? What if I am a bitter human being and terrible to all my friends who have kids? Allah is not going to punish me for having children late. He will question me for how well I regulated myself living with that reality. And so I continue to remind myself that, yes, people are going to be bigger than you. You will train people who do bigger things than you. The test in it is, how do you regulate the feelings that experience trigger in you? And so for every time, it's about self-regulation. And so my goal every year is, how do I regulate myself better? How do I regulate myself? So I realized that lately, if the way I'm regulating myself is to be ranting about experience to people, and I say, I need to stop doing that. I need to regulate myself by myself. If I'm going through the worst day of my life, if I want to regulate myself like this, I pick my phone and call. And I told myself that, see this brother that I'm calling, today he will break my heart, and I need to regulate myself from him. Who do I call? So I definitely have to start learning to regulate myself, because that's what the judgment will be. How did you undo it? So it wasn't your fault that your child has CP, but what did you do afterwards? Did you say Allah has forgiven you? Somebody said because her husband married another wife, she's going to go and be a Christian. Is it her fault the husband married another wife? No. But they're asking this lady why. Because my life is always hard. Madam, you are a consultant.
You've tied your worth and who you are. Is what you said about the appendage. You're so tied to this person that you cannot accept that could happen. That service I provided was not enough.
Well, perhaps maybe that's her reason. But the point here is that perhaps it is not her fault. Maybe even the man was wrong in the way he went about it.
Yeah, but that's between him
and his Lord.
Allah.
What is between you and your Lord is, how did you undo it? How did you react? How did you regulate? So when arrogance is coming in, and quite frankly, it's like the older I get, the worse it's becoming. perhaps maybe now I'll be able to see things differently. And I got say, I was be lying. And what has really helped me, one of the DQ that helps me to hold myself from arrogance is La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. It is Allah that owns everything.
Yeah.
He's the one that has all the strength. And if he wills, he will give the other person that will give you, and look at you, kilo mashi. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And luckily for me, I'm looking back at my life and say, perhaps people find it harder to regulate than I do, because on the way here, it always seems as if I always have one trial or the other. Now I'm looking back and I'm saying, this is Allah protecting me.
Yeah.
So I will see people moving mad, and I'll be like, hey, if they bomb me well, let me move mad 2 steps like this. I will see shaggy.
Yeah.
And I always felt that's unfair. How can people
some
get
people
away
will
with
do
it?
Yes.
And then you get older and realize that those people, is like God not like them new. Because if he likes them, he will pull them back. But and all this small shege has also helped me. So for instance, I'm a public speaker. I teach public speaking. And then one day I was laughing at somebody's voice, and I was like, we like this. We are born like this. This voice, it keeps people quiet. Sister, that's how I woke up the next day.
You just saw truth.
Wallahi. Wallahi, my voice was gone. My voice was gone. Or me telling somebody that, you see that sister, she always buy from me. She doesn't go anywhere. The sister have stopped buying from me since then. So, people can afford to be arrogant or boastful. I can't. The moment I do it, Allah will show. And then one day, I think it was this week or last week, I said, Allah, is it only you and I that you want us to be having a relationship? Let me have a relationship with other people. So even if I try, I think it is a rahmah of Allah for me. The moment I started to do, if something happened to me and it feels like a slap in the face, the first thing I'm thinking is, in what ways have I been arrogant? Who have I shown arrogance to? What thoughts have I had? And when I look back, I'll say, Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. So again, it comes back to my relationship with Islam. It comes back to self-concept and understanding that the moment I am jealous of people, envious of them, or acting petty, then there's a deficiency in my self-concept that I need to regulate. Something is wrong with my nervous system. I am reacting to something. I am bothered about something. And so in that moment, I do what I do again. I sit still.
Yeah.
In my thoughts, in my reflection. Sometimes I will say, okay, I'll wake up at Aju to sit still, but the thing will still be hitting my chest. I'll wake up at 2 o'clock and start saying, okay, what did I do? What did I do? Where did I do it? And that has consistently helped me to stay grounded. Of course, I also have parents that, I did a caricature that everybody's doing, and my caricature looked good. My lashes were flicking.
Oh, is it the AI?
The AI
I saw
thing.
it. I was like,
And I put, you see my eyes, I'm on the eyes. And then my father said, remove it is ugly. How can somebody be prideful in that kind of situation? And you are like, why? So I also am lucky to be surrounded by people who continue to keep me grounded.
Yeah.
But the most of it is always just sitting still with myself and thinking it through.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this has been an amazing conversation. And the key things that I picked is sitting still, returning back to Allah, because if you return to Allah and keep Him first, ultimately you will find yourself.
Yeah.
And finally, keeping those intentions pure and self-regulating on your journey at whatever stage you may be to reclaiming yourself. Well, this has been an amazing conversation, and I hope it's very useful to you all. It doesn't start from a certain milestone or a certain marker. From today, right now, you can take a decision to put yourself first and find the true version of you that you are meant to be. Until next time, enjoy life, love, and faith on your terms. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.